When last we saw our hero Firestorm, he was being pounced on by the menacing but mostly laughable hyena. Laughable. Get it? It's a pun! So welcome to Kevin's commentary on comics. And here we have the last officially published issue of Firestorm, the Nuclear Man, at least until they started the second series, the Fury of Firestorm, about, 5 years later. So as I said, Firestorm is fighting the hyena, and guess what? It's not going well. So here we see Flamehead getting bonked by the hyena. Hyena gets pretty mad when the cops are around, or even when it's mentioned for some reason. I don't actually think we got an explanation of why that is before this series ended, but he apparently does. Don't know why. Now, poor Firestorm can't even get a bead on the beast, even though he can practically do anything with his powers. I mean, really, can't he just, make a big, huge prison bulb in the area in which Hyena is jumping and then seal it up and capture him that way? I mean, that seems pretty easy. We showed he could make a giant pumpkin in the last issue. Surely he can make something to entrap the hyena as opposed to just trying to blast him all the time. Let's get a little bit more imagination, Firestorm. Maybe you need to hang out with Green Lantern a little bit. And while it looks like Firestorm's going to get defeated, let's check in on that little subplot regarding Ronnie Raymond's principal. For some reason, the mobster known as Spitshine, who we saw in the last issue, is tailing the principal, but it's not really clear why, or at least not yet. So back to the fight, we find out that indeed Hyena is wearing some special costume, because he talks about his vibro razor claw. They vibrate at an ultra high frequency, which allows him to cut through, let's say, a lamppost. But before Hyena can use these on Firestorm, Firestorm makes a tower that supports power lines fall on Hyena, shocks him, knocks him out. So, Hyena had just explained he's got a special suit. Thus, what he's wearing is not organic. Why can Firestorm not just change that suit into a clown suit? Or make it disappear altogether? Just have him walk around naked. As a matter of fact, this should be his MO. Anytime he faces a supervillain like Multiplex or Killer Frost or whatever, just zap the clothes off of him. What type of supervillain is going to be ready to fight a superhero if he's naked? Genius! Although I guess there really wouldn't be a lot to read about. Although it might be fun to watch, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, so Firestorm manages to beat Hyena, but does not manage to avoid a gun to the head. Smacko knocks him unconscious. Yes, it's Shine once again, being a pain. Shine takes Hyena off to his boss's house, which is his mother, Ma Shine, as she's called. While Ronnie heads back to school and changes back from Firestorm to Ronnie and Stein. However, this transformation is seen by nerd bully Cliff Carmichael. Now, he doesn't see who Firestorm is after he changes because the flash of the change is so bright. He's kind of blinded for a couple seconds, but he knows that it must be someone from his school because he got picked on by Firestorm a few issues ago. He figures, well, it must be someone I kind of harass or badmouth. Kind of goes through a list of people and like anybody could be Firestorm if it's based on I don't like you, Cliff Carmichael. So he kind of makes it his mission to find out who Firestorm really is. Meanwhile, Spitshine and Spitshine and his boys, along with Ma Shine, are there with Hyena. Obviously they wanted to get Hyena because he's been disrupting their illegal activities. But unfortunately, they don't hold him for very long. Hyena wakes up, jumps out the window, gets away. Then we cut to Ronnie trying to visit his dad at the newspaper where he works. And obviously there's some long-term subplotting going on here because he finds out through a assistant or colleague that his dad has only been a reporter for a few short years. Obviously he's not there right now because he had to run out to go get a story. That's what new reporters do. And Ronnie's like, well, what are you talking about? My dad's been in the newspaper business for over 20 years. And she's like, well, I don't know what he did before he worked here, but he wasn't a reporter. Interesting. What's going on here with his dad? Okay, we visited Ronnie in his personal life. Now let's go switch over to Professor Martin Stein in his personal life. So he's back with his private investigator that he hired last issue, and they're at a nightclub. Stein's knocking back a few drinks, just having a good time. But you know what? If I had this series of blackouts like this, I think I'd be probably having a couple as well. Next, we see that Multiplex has awoken from his coma or whatever when he was in the hospital and has discovered that he doesn't need nuclear power to power himself up. He doesn't have to absorb only nuclear power. He can absorb any form of power, including electricity. Just doesn't take, it takes a little bit longer when he's absorbing electricity as opposed to nuclear power. So he starts doing that, gets his costume back, and starts sucking up all the power wherever he can. And of course, Ronnie happens to run into Multiplex while Multiplex is trying to absorb, I guess, the power from the subway station. All right, very important point coming up here. Ronnie says, I gotta turn into Firestorm. Starts the process. Now, in previous issues, whenever Ronnie and Stein are separated from distance, which is pretty much all the time whenever they have to form into Firestorm, they're not hanging around each other a lot, although maybe that would be a good idea. So they are distance apart. Ronnie starts the merging process. Now, in the past issues, like I said before, Ronnie has gone to Stein. So wherever Stein is, that's where Firestorm appears. And they even said in one thought dialogue while fighting Killer Frost, "Why, Professor, do I come to you whenever we merge?" Stein said, "That's interesting. I don't know why." But in this case, it's the other way around. Stein, so drunk he falls under the table in front of the investigator, disappears to merge into Firestorm back at the subway station where Ronnie was. This is not explained as to why this happened. And I don't think they ever get a chance to because this is the last issue. Of course, the private investigator looks under the table and is like, "Hey, Stein," you're like, "What? He's gone again?" He's got to be thinking something weird's going on, obviously. So the newly merged Firestorm goes after Multiplex, but immediately Ronnie feels a little lightheaded, a little woozy. Can't get his balance, which of course allows Multiplex to clobber him. But let's face it, just because he's woozy and off balance isn't much of an excuse as to why Firestorm gets clobbered. He gets it clobbered consistently throughout this book. So Ronnie, being obviously the honest, good teenage boy that he is, thinks that Stein is obviously sick, and thus that's what's making him sick. Doesn't cross his mind that he's drunk. Ronnie just thinks, well, he's sick. So when he's sick, Firestorm is sick too. So Stein's drunkenness is affecting how Firestorm acts, and he decides to kind of blast Multiplex and then realizes, wait a minute, if these blasts connect, that will power Multiplex up. Don't want to do that. So he diverts the energy beams at the blast at the last second. They go actually around Multiplex. Again, this guy has complete control of his power in order to take a blast and divert it. How does he keep getting beat up? So once again, Multiplex gets the upper hand on Firestorm and starts to absorb Firestorm's power. It was here that Ronnie uses superhero trick number 48. Hey, if he wants power, let's give him power. And starts to nuclear react himself, so much so that it's too much for Multiplex to handle. He basically kind of blows up into hundreds and thousands of multiplexes. However, they're only this small. And apparently not so much issue for Firestorm because he just kind of walks off. Eventually, these multiplex guys just pop, disappear. We find out via Multiplex and Hyena, for some reason, on a rooftop Multiplex saying, that was just one of my doubles. I'm the real one. Now let's plot our revenge on Firestorm. And Hyena goes, "Nyah," or whatever he does. I don't really know. I don't even know how these guys got together. But that can't be good. And guess what? We don't actually find out. The general public does not find out what happens when these two team up. However, we do if you read backup stories in the Flash, got the Firestorm trade paperback, or bought issue number 5 on Comixology and saw that they threw in the unpublished issue number 6, which is all in black and white. I'm going to get to that one next time. figure we might as well finish this thing out. I'll just tell you up front, there's a lot of unanswered questions that go on once this series ends. In the meantime, I'm Kevin, and that was my commentary. What are your thoughts about Firestorm just in general? He is super powerful and yet gets his head handed to him almost every time he battles one of these villains. Now, he's had 3 that have been established. Multiplex, who's mainly, he's just super strong and he can make doubles of himself. All we've really seen him do, though, in battle is just 2 of them. If he could make hundreds of them, he's obviously much more of a threat. You got Killer Frost, who probably on a power level is much more suitable to fight someone like Firestorm. And then you got Hyena, who should have been nothing more than a you're done deal. Change his costume into nothing, and he's done. He has the power to change atomic matter, change matter, inorganic, granted, into anything he wants. He can have stuff pass through him because he can change his own atomic structure. He's got the super blast, such control that he can divert them in mid blast. Why? Why does he keep getting beat up? Why does he kind of luck into actually defeating these guys? It's crazy. But we will finish that stuff up next time. And in the meantime, if you are so inclined, why not go ahead and click on that subscribe button? You know what? Last episode when I did the Firestorm review, I didn't say anything about the subscribe button. I gave you guys a night off from that. But not now. You have to hit that subscribe button. Since I didn't do it last time, it's like double duty. Hit it 3 times. I don't actually think it makes a difference, but please do it. And go out, make it a great day. I'm going to talk to you later. That's a promise. Goodbye.